Most people think overeating is about food, about lack of discipline, willpower, or control. But that's the illusion. The truth is darker and far more human. Overeating isn't a hunger of the stomach, it's a hunger of the soul. It's the body's desperate attempt to fill an emptiness that the mind can't name. When people eat past fullness, they aren't chasing flavor, they're chasing feeling. That brief moment when pleasure replaces pain, when silence drowns out the noise in their head, when comfort overshadows the chaos inside. Food becomes a language of survival, a way to self-soothe when words, connection, and safety are out of reach. It usually starts in childhood. Maybe you were rewarded with food, a treat when you behaved, a dessert to distract from pain. Or maybe you were punished through it, shamed for eating too much, guilted for not eating enough. Either way, food stopped being nourishment and became emotion. It became love, comfort, celebration, and control all at once. So, as an adult, every craving isn't for taste, it's for safety. Psychologically, overeating is the body's rebellion against deprivation. When your emotional needs go unmet long enough, your body starts seeking its own form of satisfaction. That's why the more you restrict, the more you crave. Because hunger isn't just in the stomach, it's in the heart. It's in the unhealed spaces that were never fed with affection, attention, or validation. People don't overeat because they're weak. They overeat because they're empty. The weight they carry isn't just physical, it's emotional armor. Every extra pound is a story of comfort after rejection, of silence after shouting, of control after chaos. For some, it's protection, a barrier between themselves and the world that's hurt them. For others, it's punishment, a quiet way of saying, I don't deserve to feel good. The psychology of overeating reveals one brutal truth. It's not self-indulgence, it's self-preservation. Food becomes the one thing that doesn't abandon you, doesn't argue, doesn't judge. It gives instantly. It soothes reliably. It's a loyalty most people never received from people. But it's a loyalty that turns on you, because the very thing that numbs the pain also perpetuates it. Each binge, each late-night snack, each extra bite is a silent conversation between your past and your present. It's the child in you saying, I'm still hungry. Not for calories, but for care. Not for sugar, but for softness. Not for fullness, but for peace. When you eat until it hurts, you're not trying to destroy yourself. You're trying to feel something familiar. For many, that fullness mirrors emotional pain. It's predictable, it's grounding. You can't control the world, but you can control what goes into your body. And that illusion of control feels safer than uncertainty. This is why dieting rarely works, because it tries to fix the symptom, not the source. You can starve your body, but you can't starve your loneliness. You can track every calorie and still feel hollow inside. Because the problem isn't what's on your plate, it's what's missing in your life. For some, that missing piece is love. For others, it's purpose. For many, it's the absence of peace, the constant war between who they are and who they think they should be. Overeating becomes a distraction from that war. A momentary ceasefire between self-hatred and self-soothing. But when the meal ends, the emptiness remains and the cycle continues. Psychologically, this cycle is rooted in what's called emotional displacement. It's when feelings that are too painful to process get redirected into safer outlets. You can't cry at work, but you can eat in the car. You can't scream at your partner, but you can finish the bag of chips. You can't control rejection, but you can control the next bite. And for a few minutes, it works. But that relief never lasts, because food can't give you what you truly need. If you pay attention, you'll notice that every craving has a voice. Sugar calls to you when you're sad. Crunchy foods when you're angry. heavy, rich meals when you're lonely. Each flavor has meaning. Each habit has history. Your body is trying to tell you something. Your mind won't admit that you're still starving emotionally, even when your stomach is full. And that's the cruelest irony, that we live in a world obsessed with physical hunger while ignoring emotional starvation. People will count carbs, but not heartbreaks. They'll cut sugar, but not toxic relationships. They'll measure portions, but never boundaries. They'll punish their bodies for trying to cope in the only way it knows how. When people talk about hunger, they usually think of the stomach. But real hunger begins in the nervous system, in the absence of safety. Every time you eat to numb pain, what you're really craving is regulation. You want calm, you want control. You want the chaos in your chest to settle, even if it's just for a moment. Food gives that illusion. The bite, the chew, the swallow, it's rhythmic. It mimics comfort, it mimics care. That's why so many people who overeat aren't gluttons. They're survivors. They've learned that food listens when people don't, that it fills the silence when the world is too loud, that it's the only kind of love that doesn't reject them. But what they don't realize is that the hunger they're feeding isn't physical. It's emotional dysregulation. It's the body's way of saying, I don't feel safe. Psychologically, this is tied to self-abandonment. The overeater has learned to abandon their needs until those needs become unbearable. They suppress their anger, swallow their sadness, bury their loneliness, and then, when it becomes too heavy, they eat. Not because they're weak, but because food is the only safe rebellion left. It's the one area of life where they can say, this is mine. But shame follows. Immediately after, that's how the cycle sustains itself. Indulgence, relief, guilt, punishment. Each binge deepens the self-hatred, and that self-hatred becomes another reason to eat. It's a closed loop of emotional survival. The person isn't addicted to food, they're addicted to relief. The subconscious mind doesn't care about calories, it cares about comfort. It doesn't distinguish between good or bad coping mechanisms. It only recognizes what stops the pain fastest. And in a world where most people were never taught emotional regulation, food becomes the easiest drug. Overeating is rarely about excess appetite. It's about unmet emotional appetite. You can tell because when the soul begins to heal, the body stops craving the same way. When people start facing their grief, their loneliness, their anger, their relationship with food shifts naturally. It's not about restriction. It's about recognition. Once you give yourself what you've truly been starving for, food loses its control. But to get there, you have to confront the parts of you that are still hungry, not for food, but for acknowledgement. The child in you who felt unseen, the teenager who used food as rebellion, the adult who still eats in secret because shame feels safer than vulnerability. You can't heal overeating by fighting hunger. You heal it by listening to it. Ask yourself, what am I trying not to feel right now? What am I actually craving? Because beneath every craving is a message. If you listen closely, you'll realize you were never addicted to eating. You were addicted to escape. Psychologically, this means learning how to sit in discomfort without medicating it. It's about rebuilding trust with your own body, the very thing you've spent years silencing. That means slowing down, breathing before biting, asking your body what it really wants before feeding it what it's used to. It's not about dieting. Diets teach punishment. Healing teaches awareness. When you restrict, you reinforce the same message you've been living under your whole life, that you don't deserve pleasure, that your body is the enemy. But when you approach food with curiosity instead of control, your relationship with it becomes sacred again. It stops being the battlefield where you fight your emotions and starts being the place where you understand them. There's a moment that happens when people truly begin to heal from emotional eating, and it's not when they lose weight. It's when they stop being afraid of hunger. Because hunger is no longer a threat. It's communication. It's your body whispering, "I need you to notice me." And once you start listening, the need to overfill disappears on its own. The truth is, you were never broken for using food to cope. You were just doing what you had to do to survive in a world that didn't teach you how to feel safely. But now, you can learn a different kind of fullness. The kind that doesn't come from a plate, but from presence. The kind that doesn't numb, but nourishes. And when that happens, food stops being the enemy. It stops being the secret lover you meet in the dark. It becomes what it was always meant to be: fuel, connection, gratitude. Because in the end, the psychology of overeating isn't about appetite. It's about emptiness. It's about the human need to feel held when no one's there. It's about the longing to fill what life has hollowed out. But when you finally realize that the love, safety, and validation you've been searching for were never in the food, they were always in you, you'll stop eating to feel full. You'll eat because you already are.